Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, a Pittsburgh Steelers podcast made by fans like you, for fans like you. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. I'm your host, Joe Kuzma, and trying to get this out to you guys a little earlier than usual. Snow day here at the Kuzma household. Snow everywhere for those of you in western Pennsylvania, western New York, northeast Ohio, probably even all the way down to West Virginia. I've seen some snow, various people tweeting the pictures on Twitter. Very nice day to just hang around, relax, have some apple cider with the Jack Daniels in it, and hopefully my little one doesn't come in here and interrupt this particular broadcast because I'm used to having some quiet, but I've been loud the rest of the day, so if she happens to interfere, so be it. Very happy with a 27-20 Pittsburgh Steelers victory. The score making the game look a lot closer than it really was. Steelers absolutely dominant in the first quarter, dominant through most of three quarters with a little bit of garbage time at the end. Two big plays on that second Bills score, and then, of course, Dan Carpenter missing another extra point as usual. Just mind-boggling. And hey, don't forget, fans, that onside kick attempt that was bad happens to every team. So, Steelers win 4 in a row, improve to 8-5 on the year, and guess what? That's 3 of those games of that 4-game winning streak. 3 of those wins on the road against Cleveland, against Indianapolis, and against Buffalo, all away from Heinz Field. 1 more on the road before they close out with 2 games at Heinz Field to end the 2016 season. Looking pretty good as they roll into Cincinnati. Mike Tomlin gets his 100th career victory as a head coach, joining Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher. Man, what a legacy of coaches that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been able to put together here, and just keeps rolling on and rolling on in what was a game that had me majorly frustrated with the point swing at the beginning. Let me tell you, Antonio Brown gets absolutely mugged off the line of scrimmage. He gets mugged in the end zone, has arms on both of his shoulders, and can't get free for that, what would have been a very difficult catch, but we've seen it before. Ben puts the ball right on the money there. We've seen it with Marcus Wheaton. We've seen it with others. And no call, of course. And I don't mean to complain about the officiating, but I know that Pete Morelli and his crew have always been questionable. I thought the Sammy Watkins catch at the end of the game was a gimme. I thought it was a ball that wasn't possessed, saw it spinning in his hand, and the second hand wasn't on it as he was already out of bounds, but you're going to give it to the team that's losing. I thought that was a bad break for the Steelers. I thought if that was Antonio Brown or somebody else, they probably wouldn't have given it to Pittsburgh, especially if they were winning. I don't think it's all conspiracy theory, but I do think that the second of 3 Ben Roethlisberger picks, man, I was way off on those predictions for the game. I had my other ones all in line, though. Said Tyrod Taylor would go down 4 times in this game, and he would, in fact, get sacked. Let's see here. I'm pulling it up right now. Steelers actually got to him 5 times for a loss of 20 yards, so not too bad on that. I didn't think the Steelers would turn the ball over, but Ben, if you're going to take a game where Ben's going to have maybe not his best game and throw the ball away, give it away 3 times to a team that come into the NFL already 5th in the turnover margin in their favor, and you still end up with a victory on the road, nonetheless, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it as is. But that second pick, Antonio Brown gets absolutely mugged, something like 12, 14 yards down the field, and then that DB, I already lost his name, but ends up making a play on it and brings it back 30-some yards. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous when you're going to call an offensive pass interference on Antonio Brown for something that was far less than either of those 2 plays. And, of course, the phantom, the flag's in the snow and we didn't see it on what would have been Will Gay's Steeler record pick 6. He would have beaten Rod Woodson in a game that had many records already broken. I already mentioned that Mike Tomlin gets his 100th career victory. And the bell cow, Le'Veon Bell, boy, did they ride him to victory here. Pittsburgh Steelers get 14 first downs by running the football and 9 by passing. The Bills got 9 as well, but only 4 by running the football. Both teams get a first down via penalty in this game. Steelers 43% on third down. The Bills 33%. Steelers perfect on fourth down as well. 3 of 6 in the red zone, however, with 2 of Ben's turnovers coming in that area. Tried to hit Ladarius Green. Great play by the linebacker from the Bills on that pick. Sometimes, like I said, these are professional football players as well. They're not on the other team. They're not just going to lay down. And they were 6-6 coming into this. A lot of people in Buffalo think Rex Ryan is going to get fired. So it's very good knowing that you have Mike Tomlin here who can plug and play people as needed. Kobe Hamilton, a machine on third downs, does it again when needed. Finds a way to get open, holds on to the ball. LT Walton gets a nice amount of snaps here. A lot of people making a big deal about Dan McCullers, but hey, this second-year, sixth-round draft pick continues to get more and more playing time in place of the injured Javon Hargrave. Thought he had a very nice game. Ryan Shazier, what a playmaker he is. And, of course, there were some missed tackles, some of that slippery, some of that just being Tyrod Taylor being elusive, or same with Shady McCoy. I don't know that the Steelers are going to face anybody that's this elusive or any running backs that are this good between the rest of their AFC North games coming up, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns. And, of course, the Bills' best run D in the entire league. A lot of people make a big deal about the Ravens having a great run D. And look what Le'Veon Bell did on the day. Lev Bell puts up 236 yards on the ground on 38 attempts, has 3 touchdowns. He sets a Steelers individual franchise record for most running yards in a game, and practically has himself, I think, 2 yards shy, since he had 4 catches on 5 targets for 62 yards. Pair that with the 236, and he ends up with 298 all-purpose. Talking with Steel Dad, who was on the show about a week and a half ago, and the whole nail the number, I was going for 147. That did not happen. So I tried to get close. It just did not work out in the way that I would have thought. So what else is there on the horizon here for the Steelers? I mean, Le'Veon Bell, what did I say? Steelers record with rushing yards. Oh, and he also had the single best game that anyone's ever recorded on the ground against the Buffalo Bills. Yikes. That does not look good for Rex Ryan in a game that they just could not lose. The defense, I thought, was very strong. Good games with Sean Davis as well. Maybe Timmons not the biggest impact, but how about Stephon Tuitt right out the gate? James Harrison, and actually this is important to point out, Bud Dupree getting a lot of pressure, James Harrison getting some pressure. Those guys got most of the work through the better part of 3 quarters. We saw a little bit of Anthony Chiquillo near the end. We saw Ricardo Matthews get in there a little bit when the game was already kind of in control. Some guys got a blow, gave him a little bit of a breather, not a big breather though. So this is pretty interesting to see. I made some predictions. I'm going to go back and take a look at some of these. I said the Steelers would go unsacked in this game. And guess what happened? Nobody got to Ben on the other side of the football. Bills D just manhandled. And very impressive game with B.J. Finney stepping in for Ramon Foster. What a solid player he is. A nice guy to come off the bench. This is why you got to give Mike Tomlin credit. Guys answering the call. What did I say? LT Walton. We're talking about rookies in there like Sean Davis and Artie Burns stepping up. And then you have your left guard out, and you have another guy in there and still getting it done. Kobe Hamilton, third down machine, only catches 1 or 2 balls, but he's always moving the chains. Eli Rogers with a few grabs in this as well, but Ben stays upright, and they push around the Buffalo defense all day long. Like I said, to the tune of a total amount of 460 yards of offense from the Pittsburgh Steelers. 240 yards net, as I'm reading here. I don't know. That's got to be a little off, I would think. 220 yards passing. A lot more passing in the first half than the second half. Le'Veon Bell, they just hitched the wagon right to him. And Boswell looked pretty sharp out there too, I will admit. Jordan Berry, one of his few punts, ends up going into the end zone nearly. The cold conditions. We're going to have a good WTF with Terry, and hopefully Terry can join us for a podcast. Maybe we'll have a special edition. We're going to do the WTF as a show maybe midweek as well. Talk about some of this crazy stuff in the NFL, because you delay this game 7 minutes, give the Bills a little bit more of a breather, a little bit more life, because you got to move the pellets now. I'm all about player safety. I understand it. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I keep thinking about Sean Sweezum and how that ended his career in Canton. So I'm cool with it. But, man, You have these big tractors and they just blow it, and then they don't blow it beyond. You couldn't even see the white lines. You couldn't see the stripes that you need for out of bounds. How you can play a football game like that, let alone player safety? So that's a little bit of a WTF. Terry, if you're listening, jot that down, some good notes. One other guy I want to give a game ball to, there was a lot in this game. Roosevelt Nix, all over the place, stealing the edge, great blocks. Even saw Finney pull a few times, get out in front, Jesse James. But man, Nix is just crushing. And he had 2 awesome tackles on special teams. I'm sure that'll be in the film breakdown as well. But as I said, Tomlin not even bothering with the hot hand. It's 92-48 on the outside right now. And it appears the interior linemen are doing just fine, even with LT Walton. McCullers was out there a little bit too. Secondary doing pretty strong. Mike Mitchell got hurt, came back in. So we're going to see. Steelers are very hot now, doing everything they need to do. Offensively, they're built to do whatever they want. Power football, push the number 1 run defense around and still run the football. Get Lev Bell 236 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. And 1 carry by Fitz Toussaint goes for 6. I'll take it. In a 3-turnover game and a victory on the road, I will take it. And I think they're built for whatever. David Johnson, Rosie Nix, Jesse James, Darius Green. Didn't see. They tried with Green. He was active a little bit earlier. The Bills' D was bad against tight ends. I think they just made a conscious decision that, hey, they can't stop us on the run. They couldn't. How many times was there a penalty in this game? 1st and 20-something. And Lev Bell just totally took that back in 1 carry. Just a phenomenal game by him. By the way, Eli Rogers, 3 catches for 20 yards in this one. Green, 2 for 25, which was early. Antonio Brown was targeted 11 times, 5 for 78, including the big 40-yard long. I don't know how he continues to do it. David Johnson, he got involved like I thought he would too. 1 for 15 yards, nice little rumble. Gets open there. I think, was that the 3rd or the 4th down conversion? Because, man, was that nice. Ben audibles out that play a little bit, and nobody was looking for it. Very sneaky, David Johnson. You are sneaky. Ryan Shazier leads everyone with 8 combined tackles. He had 6 solo, as did Sean Davis, but had 1 less assisted for 7 total. Will Gay, of course, gets 5 combined. You had Artie Burns making 1 heck of an impact play with that interception, and one thing that probably hurt Phil Simms to even say, or even admit, that Sean Davis would have been in position to make that pick as well, had Burns not snagged it out of the air first. Once again, folks, Pittsburgh Steelers now improved to 8-5, 27-20 victory on the road against the Buffalo Bills. Up next is Cincinnati Bengals, who, they squeaked by a little bit with the Cleveland Browns. Had a little bit, maybe, I'm not going to say they had a scare. It was the Cleveland Browns. RG3 had a terrible game. So, folks, very excited. Going to get some more shows out to you this week, some bonus episodes. So, until next time. In fact, until next time, if you would like, call in. Haven't heard from a few of you in a while. That's 203-900-4SCU. So, until next time, 203-900-4SCU. Play a few of those on the air, and we'll talk later. Be safe, be good, and I will catch you later. Go Steelers.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.